Hello everyone, this is Ohm, and welcome to my Tearlaments deck profile for Alliance Insight. Now, this is actually the 60 card Tearlaments deck that I've been trying to mess around with. Uh, Surprisingly, it made second place at locals against Asmina White Forest, which is a fairly popular choice in the area. One Fire King and one runic iteration of the new Ancient Fairy Dragon deck. So let me go ahead and get started here. First, you got your three fusion names, Shiren, Merly, Havness. Being sent to grave, you can perform a fusion summon using them as material. Three Rhino Heart to dump these names. Three Tear Cash to mill 3, and when they're sent to graveyard, mill 2. Three Pearl Rhino to search for these names. Usually you want to get Rhino Heart or Tear Cash, depending on your hand. 3 Scream just for extra milling, and to grab a trap when it gets sent to grave. 1 Grief for a sort of extension here, where you can Rhino Heart dump one of these names, then Grief send another just to extend into Garura. Or you can try doing extra milling with Tear Cash by summoning Tear and then dumping Rhino Heart. And 1 Heartbeat to spin a spell or trap, or to search for one of the Tear traps in the grave. And got 2 Sulic, just to search for a Tear name and be a monster negate. 1 Mana Noise for Book of Moon and for sending a Tear name from deck to grave. 1 Crime, being the Omni negate, but you're mostly using it as a form of searching for your banished Tear names, which most of the time will be Rhino Heart. And 1 Terrific Karma, where in graveyard you can banish it to search for any spell or trap that mentions Feast of Starfrost, which happens to be all of the Tier 1 spell and traps. So that does it for the Tearlaments portion of the deck. It does make up a whole third of it. Next, we have the Horus package. 3 Imseti to grab Kingsark and get a draw. Happy and Duamatef. You don't really want these in your hand unless you have Kingsark already. Walls to search for Imseti. And 2 Kingsark to be able to keep your plays. So, as long as you have Kingsark or Walls, and these guys are in your graveyard, you can just summon them and do a rank 8 play if you choose to. Or you can just do a Fiendsmith line. Speaking of, we got 3 Engravers. You can pitch this to add Tract. Lacrima, you can use that to dump either the Engraver, or you can dump the Paradise. 1 Lurie to go with the Tract, because you can Tract, add Lurie, then pitch Lurie. And 1 Paradise. Paradise, on when your opponent summons a monster, you can banish it, send a Fiendsmith from deck or extract to graveyard. Mostly, or for most part, you're going to be dumping Desiree. Then we got the more generic engine. 2 Nessie, 1 Mothman. The Nessies are really here just for extra Dark Aquas that you can make Garura with. Same for Mothman, just for extra Dark monsters for Mud Dragon. You're rarely ever going to use their effects to actually reveal and actually use the danger effect. 1 Keldo, 1 Mudora. Yeah, the shufflers are really there just to either shuffle back tier names or anything in your opponent's graveyard. Usually, if you're dealing with Runic, it does come in handy. You shuffle all 3 of their Runics, and they don't get to draw anything. Or, in another case, when you're dealing with Malice, when they're targeting 3 cards to banish, you can just use Kelder or Medora and shuffle all those targets. That way they can't get extension, or they can't just remove all of your graveyard items. Emerald Tortoise and Rainbow Bridge. You're never going to want Crystal Beast Emerald Tortoise in your hand or in your graveyard. You mainly want to have this in the grave as soon as possible. Because on banish, you can search for an Emerald Tortoise and any of the field spells with or any field spell, which can be Walls or the Pearl Rhino. 3 goods as a way to get the Rainbow Bridge or any of the tier spell and traps, including Trivia Karma, and 1 grass. If you're playing 60, if you can bait an Ash Blossom, resolving grass is the best thing you can do. And then we have the more non-engine of the deck. 3 Ash Blossom, 3 Nibiru, 3 Super Poly, and 3 Triple Tack. Now, a lot of monsters tend to be the same attribute or same type or different. So you're very likely to go into Mud Dragon or Garura. And then Triple Tack is there to search for the grass or any other normal spell or trap. For example, Meta Noise. Or you can search for Grief if you're not really needing grass. Next, we have the extra deck. Really only 1 tier name in there. We got Kaleido Heart. And of course, we got the whole Fiendsmith package here. Requiem, Sequence, Desiree, as well as Necroquip and Moon, just in case you can't get to your Light Fiends. Super Poly package, Mud Dragon, Garura, Dragostapelia. You don't need Super Poly to get these guys on the field, but it is preferable unless you have a way to extend. Mostly, Garura is your main means of extension for getting to Moon. And you got Time Thief Redoer. You're not really using Redoer that much. It's kind of rare, but as an emergency play, you can overlay Shiren on it, or Rhino Heart if you have a tier name in hand, and it can snatch one of your opponent's cards from the deck on standby. Pilgrim Reaper, I really got to use this card yesterday. Mainly, it's just a way to mill 5. So it's Kid Kalos at home. Next we got High King Caesar. If you don't think you're really needing the mills, you just go into Caesar with Necroquip and Engraver, and then you have 2 Solemn Warnings. So this is Rule Kalos at home. And Zombie Vampire. If you already have the Fiendsmith line available, or you're just confident in your mills, you can just make Zombie Vampire with the 2 Horus cards, and then mill 4 and summon 1. Then you got Sprite Sprint, which is, you have a way to make a line with this. Basically, you you can do Sequence and then link that off for Sprint, which can dump Merly. And lastly, you got SP Little Knight, which is just a good card in the format. You summon it to banish 1 if you use an extract monster's material, and in response to an effect, you can just chain it, target 2 cards, and banish them until the end phase. Next, we got the side deck. 3 Gamma Seal. Now, there are some cards that are able to work around Nib, so if you're going second, this is kind of a decent way to deal with them. 3 Fuelos. If I had the space to put them in main, I would, but I don't really have a good option for them. So I'd rather just use these going second. It's not likely that they come up either way. But against Azumina, it will be very likely. Got 3 Troll and Lockbird in case in case you're dealing with Fua or you know that your opponent's going to be searching a lot. Because, funnily enough, this deck can play under Joel decently well. Then you got two Lancia. Oh, not two, three Lancia, sorry. Just to have anti-malice plays. One scatter shot, just to deal 500 damage, which is another name that you can dump off a sprint. And two Ultimate Slayer. Now, there's not too much spell and trap removal. I feel fairly confident on dealing with those cards, since I have multiple ways of removals, because Kaleido Heart can spin any card on the field, or any card that your opponent controls. Parlo Rhino can pop a card. Heartbeat can spin a card. So you do have ways of removal through your main engine. It's not that hard to deal with. Also, since Gamma Seal is an Aqua monster, if you were able to pop the Gamma Seal, you can actually trigger Kaleido Heart's effect to spin. So that does it for the actual deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed it. This deck was actually really fun to mess with. I mean, I was originally using it because I'm actually waiting on the new support for ALIN, since I wanted to try to mess with the new White Forest and Malice decks. But this I actually had a lot of fun with. So hope you enjoyed, and hope to see you again in the next profile. Thank you.